Hey, we're here. I was doing my vocal exercises. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Can you say that? Probably. It's not that hard, but it is something that if you say enough times, you will get sort of control of your what? Articulation mechanisms? I don't know. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Pugs Moran. This is the High Noon Rant. Do it every Monday through Friday at about 12 o'clock. It is current events driven hot talk the way current events driven hot talk should sound. What do I mean by that? I don't care how you voted. I don't care if you're blue, you're red, whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about everything else. Non-divisive current events driven hot talk radio. They said it couldn't be a thing. And then I showed up. Hi, everybody. We got Adam here. Adam's in the chat room. Good to see Adam. We got Al. Good to see Al. We got Byron. Wait, why are these the only three showing up? Hold on. I got to do something. I got to go. There it is. I always miss Taronda because I'm looking at the wrong page. Taronda was in first. God, it's just like, here's an interesting thing. And I am not hoping this to be a thing, but like, if Taronda one day just doesn't show up and like she's not here for like a week, I'm just saying, at 1 a.m. when I'm laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, getting all my thoughts in order. One of those thoughts is going to be what happened to Taronda. I have this, what happened with Leslie, not one Leslie, we know what happened. There's my one of my favorite oldest friend Leslie's. All of a sudden she's gone, but she's really liberal. So I mean, she doesn't, but still love her. Think about her. Taronda would be one I'd worry about. Jeff Glenn, one of my favorite people on the planet. Who I don't really actually know as like human, but digitally and through the airwaves and as a friend and as a caller, I miss these people. So anyway, welcome aboard. Cameron's here in the chat room. We got Cam, we got Freddie Mac. What up, Pugs? What up, Freddie Mac? We got Byron, we got Al. Okay, so everybody's moving in. So what is this show? I told you it's current events driven. Hot talk. I got hot takes. Non-political, non-divisive. I'm too dumb to be like all in the weeds with or am I too sane to be all in the weeds with that political nonsense? So what I give you is just sort of unfiltered stream of consciousness style. It's nothing I'm very proud of. I didn't even think about it that I was doing it. And then somebody in the business pointed out to me, he's like, dude, you're doing like a crazy stream of consciousness thing. And I'm like, you know what? I am. So now I go with it. This is a nonstop 2-hour stream of consciousness rant on all the day's news, current events, headlines, hot topics, whatever it is. Like I said, we've been doing it every day now for like 2.5 years. This is far different than what a radio show would sound like, but that's, because there is no room in radio for someone with attitudes like mine. One would think, what kind of attitudes are that? Well, you'll see. And thank you to the folks that have hung out all this time. Hey, by the way, I do need to say this. Bum, 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 bum. The High Noon Rant with Pugs Moran, executive produced today by Jen K. Jen's getting it again because she got us across the finish line. She was fantastic. Appreciate it. This show, as you all know, runs on your tips and your support. So if you're so inclined to support this kind of non-divisive, non-political, current events-driven hot talk, drop a little something, won't you? All right, the show works in 4. I told you it's stream of consciousness, but in my mind, I break it down. I compartmentalize it into 4 quarters. Not unlike the Super Bowl from last night, which we'll get into. I got a lot of Super Bowl thoughts. I did work for you folks on the Super Bowl, and we'll get into it all. Excuse me. 4 quarters. First quarter is something we call antecedently on this day. We run through this day in history. That's all it is. Antecedently is a fancy way of saying this day in history, and I'm a bit pretentious, so here we are. Deal with it. Quarter 2, that's going to be where we do birthdays. People who say it's their birthday. We talk about people celebrating birthdays today. I give a little hot take on what I think of them as I battle hiccups. Yeah, that's another thing that happens. Hiccups occur on this show. Sometimes it's a stream of consciousness. I don't shut up. So my breathing rhythms get disrupted. And from time to time, they go, hey, hold on. We need to catch up. And I battle hiccups as I'm about to do. So quarter 2 is birthdays. It's self-explanatory. Quarter 3 is deaths. Also self-explanatory. Is it? Is it? Because I do add a wrinkle to the deaths. We go through a list of people who died on this day. And then, you know, based on our understanding of how we were raised in heaven and hell and all of that kind of, where'd they go? Okay, this famous person died today. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? Man, I am really, really doing a kick-ass job of fighting these hiccups off, man. I can feel them. They're right here. Do I dare take a drink? Do I dare take a drink? There's a cough, so that disrupted it a little bit imbalanced. Uh-oh, here we go. Ah, damn it, they came! The cough shook it loose. This is no fun for anyone. When I battle the hiccups, it doesn't happen all the time, but I would say a good 40% of the shows I battle hiccups. Usually at the start. Oh, God. I hate it. Anyway, we're going to bull rush right through it. I'm going to hiccup for a while, and then I'm not going to be hiccup anymore, and we're going to be good with it. All right, so what do you say we get started? It's not like vomit. I'm not going all Wolf Blitzer on you, like from last week. Remember last week when Wolf Blitzer threw up on the air? That was awesome. Yeah, the cutaway. I don't know. Will he be back today? Probably. No, yeah, because he was back Friday. Maybe. I don't know. Long weekend for Wolf. He was pukey on Thursday. All right. It is the 12th day of February, year of our Lord, 2024. February 12th is the 43rd day of the year. There are 322 days remaining until the end of the year. And yeah, I'm really fighting these hiccups. I'm doing a great job. Just so you know, you see me here. What's going on inside? It's like Game of Thrones. All right. Let's get started. Did I tell you how many days? Yeah, I told you all that stuff, right? Oh, it was pointed out to me that it's a leap year this year. So I think it was Hugh. Hugh sent me a note on Twitter. He's like, hey, by the way, just so you know, it's a leap year on this day. Yeah, I account for that. I pretend like I don't know. Like I go, I don't know if it's a leap year, but it says right here, February 12th is the 43rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 323 days left in leap years. Okay, that's not what I just said. So look, Hugh was right. That's not what I just said. I read the first number, not the leap year number. Hugh, you caught me. Hope you feel better. All right, let's get started. Antecedently on this day, this is where we take a look back at all of the events that have helped shape our understanding of what this day is. And we look for rhythms and patterns, like what kind of things happened on this day in the past. Here we go. Let's start it out. 1909, on this day, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, is founded. 1909. So over 100 years old, this organization. They've done a lot of incredible work, the NAACP, an important American institution. 1909. Why haven't they changed the name? Why haven't they rebranded? Colored people. Now, granted, I'm, for what it's worth, I'm a middle-aged white guy, right? I know why the N-word is bad, and I know why other pejorative terms for, Black Americans or Black people in general, I know why they're colored people is like on the line, right? Colored people is like something that your grandpa said in the 50s. The coloreds are moving into the neighborhood. It was always used in a dirty way. So that's where I sort of have a problem with seeing the word color used to describe Black people in 2024, simply because of the context in which I had seen it used by people of the past. That's my problem with it. It is one of those on the line words, though, it's like, because I never heard anybody say, I really love them coloreds. I never heard that. If I had, maybe I'd have a different. And I wonder why. Stationery issue. 1909, they got a whole bunch of stationery that said National Association of Advancement for Colored People, and they just didn't want to have to change up the branding. I don't know. Now in 2024, it's almost like, yeah, good for you. You go, take the word back. Whatever. I don't know. But as a white man, as a middle-aged white man, every time I hear National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, I always go, ooh, can I say that? Can I even say this important American institution? I don't even know. Antecedently on this day in 1963, construction begins on the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri. Oh, my God. The Gateway. Have you ever seen this monument of just, look, here's what I'll say. being a Chicagoan, I tease St. Louis. St. Louis is like the brother-in-law who, Milwaukee is our slow-witted little brother. Indianapolis is our trashy little sister. And then like St. Louis is our St. Louis to Chicago. St. Louis is like our brother-in-law. And we tolerate them, but they're just so irritating down there. Oh my God. The gateway, no city in America has a branding monument the way, whether it's Paris and the Eiffel Tower, right? Washington, D.C. and the monument, the Washington Monument, whatever it is. No city here in Dallas, the Reunion Tower, our ball that lights up. That's our branding monument. No city has a branding monument more befitting than St. Louis. That is the lamest thing. Have you ever been? I've been many times. I've been up it. I've been outside. I've been arrested at the foot. Yeah, it was a radio stunt. The St. Louis police came and got me for, apparently, this was before terrorism. This was before 9/11, even before the first World Trade Center bombing. Somebody said I was going to blow up I might have said on the radio I was going to go to St. Louis and blow up the monument. I don't know. And then I showed up in St. Louis. I don't know. It was a joke. And you know what? Let me tell you, in 1992, jokes like that were handled the way they should be. They were handled as a joke, as a radio stunt. But anyway, the St. Louis Arch is lame. Okay, so now, because I don't want to be a negative Nelly, because I don't hate St. Louis. St. Louis is beautiful. I mean, St. Louis might be one of the most beautiful cities in America if they ever got their shit together. So right there on the Mississippi River with the cliffs and, oh my God, St. Charles, Missouri. Oh my God. It's a good place. It could be a good place. It's just so lame. It's just, their pizza's good. I'm going to say that. St. Louis style pizza. The pizza snob. I have snobbery on all kinds of pizza. Like I'm a pizza expert. I proudly say that I've worked in 3 of the greatest pizza restaurants in the world. Aurelio's, Palermo's, and Giordano's. That's right, all 3 of them. I know pizza. Let me tell you, St. Louis pizza is good. All right, the Arch. That's what they should do. They should just make a giant monument. They should tear down the Arch, and they should make a giant monument to Emo's Pizza. Emo's with an I, I-M-O. Because that's the best thing that's ever come out of St. Louis. Anyway, okay, moving on. You know what they do? You know why the pizza is better? First of all, it's Chicago-style tavern pizza. That's exactly what it is. It's checkerboard cut. It's super thin. It's crispy crust. It's freaking perfect. It's the cheese. They use a different kind of cheese, and the cheese is good. They use a cheese called Provel. And I don't know what Provel is. I have worked in pizza restaurants, and our cheese mixture is always provolone and mozzarella. That's what a pizza mix cheese is. I don't know what Provel is. They're like making a special cheese, and it's good. There you have it. It's a problem with me when I'm ranting, when I'm doing this stream of consciousness. Dude, I can go on about St. Louis for an hour. As a matter of fact, that might be a whole new series of YouTube specials I do, where it's just me on a city, just tearing down a city for... Hey, that's not a bad idea, actually. That's not. But I'll also say good things like St. Louis and Emo's. Antecedently, on this day, year of our Lord, 1960. Mr. Popular. Hold on. Sure. Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. I just got booked on WBAP. I'm doing a hit on James's show. I don't know if you know this. I'm the entertainment reporter over there. I'm doing all kinds of entertainment stuff. I'm BAP. I know, Mr. Non-politically divisive, but that's why I'm like, I'll do entertainment stuff. There's nothing political about that. Oh God. Although we'll see. Can you be on at 3:05? I say sure. All right, so there you have it. Check us out on James's show on WBAP at 93.3. I think he's over there on the FM. All right, antecedently, on this day in 1994, 4 thieves break into the National Gallery of Norway and steal the Edvard Munch painting, The Scream. You know that painting, The Scream? You know that painting? It's like weird. You've seen it. If I showed it to you, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I know that painting. Anyway, this was like one of the biggest art robbery heists in history. That's an important painting. I don't know what happened to it. I could click on it and we can spend 5 minutes learning about what happened to Edvard Munch's Scream painting when it was stolen on this day in 94 from the National Gallery of Norway, but I'm not that interested. On this day, antecedently in 1999, the United States President Bill Clinton is acquitted by the United States Senate in his impeachment trial. So that's a thing. So, I guess impeachments will never ever get an impeachment again because typically the guy who's in office, his party controls one of the two houses, so it'll either never get out of Congress or it'll get out of Congress, but it'll get killed in the Senate. So what really is an impeachment? It's a fancy word for just being censored now. That's all it is. Censured. I said censored. Censured. On this day, antecedently in 2004, the city of San Francisco begins issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples in response to a directive from then Mayor Gavin Newsom. Oh boy. Woo! G-Dog coming. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. There ain't no way Biden makes. No way. No way. He's coming. He's coming. There's going to be an open convention. I'm telling you, this is going to... What? That can't happen. What have you seen occur in American politics in the last 4 years that make you think that there couldn't be and won't be an open convention for the Democrats this summer because we have a senile president? Come on, man. Everything's crazy. Everything is on the table. And by the way, open conventions are fairly common. They've happened a lot. They happened after Bobby Kennedy was killed. They happened in I don't know, there's another one. I saw a list. They were talking about it. Anyway, they're not all that uncommon. So that's what's going to happen, man. And you know what we're going to get? The whole country. Man, this Gavin Newsom's going to be president. Oh, you people hate it. You people hate it. This son of a bitch. I know a lot about this guy. He's slimy. I mean, he's, slimy. I shouldn't say slimy because, again, I'm not trying to give anybody away. He's a politician. He's a politician, and he's handsome, and he's good. Oh, he's so good on camera. Oh, boy. He's smart, and he's sharp, and he's articulate. And if he gets, like, let's say August, let's say it's an open convention, and boom, all of a sudden it's a 3-month sprint between Trump and this guy that nobody knows anything about, but he's handsome and well-spoken, and oh, you're nuts. We're going to get a Gavin Newsom president, and none of us even knew who he was a year ago. It's that kind of a deal. He's going to be president. He's going to challenge Kamala. There's going to be a split convention. They're both from California. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. People are going to be going crazy. It's going to be nuts. Anyway, that's it. That's about as deep in politics as I go. I'm predicting an open convention for the Democrats, and it's going to be crazy fun for all of us people just sitting on the couch watching. All right. That's it, right? That's it. Gay marriage, it becomes a thing in San Francisco in 2004. Okay, let's move on. Q2. They say it's their birthday. These are people celebrating birthdays today. I don't know if it's actually their birthday, but, it is written. Born on this day in 1809. How about Charles Darwin? Darwin. See, I can't be president because I slur my words sometimes. Charles Darwin, English geologist and theorist. What did Darwin say? Darwin's the guy. Darwin's like the, monkey too. That's Darwin with the missing link. Is that Darwin? Alien. The missing link is alien, dude. Come on, can we all just address the missing link? It's alien. Charles Darwin, born on this day in 1809. Born on this day also in 1809. Wow. Whoo, this is some umbilical cousins. That's what we call people born on the same day, same year, who both independently go on to some form of notoriety. Born on this day, same day as Charles Darwin, 1809. Some say the greatest. I've got him in my personal draft order as the number 2 pick, but some say the greatest president of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Abraham Lincoln, born on this day in 1809. Old Honest Abe. I'm from the land of Lincoln, so you know that all of his accomplishments were drummed into my head as a school child. Abraham Lincoln, everything. We were the only state, Illinois, the only state in the nation whose toll roads accepted pennies. No other state's toll roads took pennies. Illinois did. You know why? Because of Lincoln. Because Lincoln was on the penny. Because there was a movement to get rid of the penny. And, the mint was showing that pennies weren't being used. So literally, the state of Illinois went, all right, you can use pennies in the toll booths. And we encourage you to use pennies because they're trying to take Abe off the penny. I mean, there is no reason for a penny. When was the last time you needed a penny, right? There's no reason for it. But there you have it. Abe Lincoln, born on this day in 1809, same day as Charles Darwin. Fun facts. That's what we do here. Born on this day in 1893. Omar Bradley, American general. I'm a general fetishist. I love my American generals. I rank General Grant as the greatest general of all time. Why? Because war strategy, great. You want to be a strategist? Okay. Napoleon was pretty good at that. Washington was a pretty good strategist. But war, once everything's going nuts, here's what you need. You need a fearless drunk on horseback. And that is what General Grant was. A fearless drunk with no plan, just sending his guys into the slaughter. They're all drunk too. But Omar Bradley, let's talk about Omar Bradley. Omar Bradley's a pretty great American general. Omar Bradley, the Bradley fighting vehicle, that was named after him. Bradley where was Bradley? Was Bradley in Sicily too? I'm trying to think of where Bradley was in World War II, because I know Bradley and Patton were close. Like, Bradley was the only general that Patton really trusted, because Patton had a problem with Montgomery. Patton had a problem with Eisenhower. Patton had a problem with everybody, right? But he didn't have a problem with Bradley. And it wasn't so much that Bradley liked Patton, because Patton was a lunatic. Patton was not a likable dude. Bradley was sort of the Patton whisperer. Bradley was able to get Patton, under control and to actually do what headquarters asked. That was Bradley. But Bradley was also a great general and a great leader of men in his own right. And has anybody ever played Bradley? Who played Bradley in Patton? Because I know that was a fairly significant role in the George C. Scott film Patton. Oh, it was a Carl Malden. Look at me pulling that out. Carl Malden played General Omar Bradley in Patton. Moving on. Happy birthday. Born on this day, it's Michael McDonald. I love Michael McDonald. I can sing like Michael McDonald. I used to do karaoke where I'd sing Michael McDonald songs. And people were like, hey, that's actually really good. You should sing more. And I go, I can only sing Michael McDonald songs. I'm kind of limited. Michael McDonald, oh, sweet freedom. What else did Michael McDonald do? Taking it to the streets. Anyway, Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, he's great. He's got a beard, fantastic. Held on to the beard, grew the beard in the 70s when everybody had the beard, when it was fashionable to have the beard. But then he kept it into the 80s when nobody had beards. Nobody, name me a dude in the 80s with a beard. Michael McDonald. That's who. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1953. How about Joanna Kearns? Joanna Kearns. Who the hell? I know the name. She's Maggie Seaver from Growing Pains. She was the mom on Growing Pains. She's one of America's most forgettable TV moms. Joanna Kearns. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1956. How about happy birthday to Arsenio Hall? Okay, do I have a take on Arsenio Hall? I used to watch his show. I used to like his show. Show was good. Show was fun. But I was a Letterman guy. I was a Conan guy. Arsenio Hall. He was big, man. I people don't remember how big he was. 5 years. 5 years. That dude had 5 years where Arsenio Hall meant something, where he was a big deal. Happy birthday to Arsenio Hall. He ain't been a big deal since the last time Eddie Murphy put him in a movie. But that's the whole thing about Arsenio Hall. That's what's crazy. Oh my God. I'm remembering all of this now. Arsenio Hall was kind of nothing. He was a stand-up comedian, but he wasn't one of the top stand-up comedians. He got TV work and he was on TV, but he wasn't great. Nobody was like, Arsenio Hall's my favorite comedian. But then he became best friends in the 80s with Eddie Murphy. That's what it was. It was Arsenio Hall suddenly became really famous because everybody in the world, Eddie Murphy was Kim Kardashian. Everybody was tracking Eddie Murphy everywhere. He was the biggest movie star. He was the TV star. Everybody loved Eddie Murphy in 1986. He couldn't go anywhere. And guess who was with him every time there were pictures taking? Funny Man, Arsenio Hall. They gave him a TV show based on that. They gave him his own talk show. He didn't deserve a talk show. All right, now I'm turning on Arsenio Hall. He didn't deserve a talk show. He was friends with Eddie Murphy. Anyway, we'll move on now. Happy birthday, Arsenio Hall. Born on this day in 1963. Here's someone that we're going to take a moment because I love this guy. This guy is one of my all-time favorites. You know how I got my list of that guy actors? People whose names you don't know, but whose work you certainly do. Let me show you this one. He's having a birthday today. He is that guy actor of the highest order. He's one of these dudes that when he appears on screen, I just start to smile. Bill Murray is like that. Christopher Guest is like that. Chris Elliott is like that. Like Jason Sudeikis is like that. Bill Hader is like, there are certain people, certain actors who just the minute they appear in a scene before they've even done anything, I'm like going, okay, something funny's gonna happen. All right, Charlie Day is like that for me. But certainly this dude, character actor supreme, incredibly brilliant comedic actor and a good dramatic actor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's John Michael Higgins' birthday. This dude's been in everything. And everything he's been in, you've laughed at. You've been like, oh, that dude's hysterical. Case in point, let's look at some of the things that he's done and some of the things that we've known him from. I'll tell you where he first came onto my radar in a relatively serious role. John Michael Higgins, hold on, let me make sure we get this right. Boop, boop. Okay, we'll stop sharing that one. As a matter of fact, we can probably get rid of that one. Now let's go with this one. Here we go. John Michael Higgins first burst onto my scene portraying David Letterman in The Late Show, which was a movie about what happened when David Letterman left NBC for CBS because he was not given The Tonight Show, okay? So that guy, John Michael Higgins, who we know from all the Chris Guest movies, from all the funny sitcoms that he's been a part of over the years, John Michael Higgins, we know him from all of that. But here, have you ever seen him portray David Letterman? Because he played David Letterman lights out. He got an Emmy nomination for it. Here is John Michael Higgins, our birthday boy, playing David Letterman in The Late Show.
You like that joke?
Yeah. Mike Ovitz is on line 1.
All right, fellas, let's go. I gotta take this call. Come on, it's Adult Swim. Get out of here. And don't come back until it's funny. You guys want to hear this?
Oh, yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
That's Robert Morton and Peter
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Snally.
Dave, 1 hour ago, Bob Ray conveyed to us an offer for you to host The Tonight Show. Now, don't jump to any conclusions. Let me lay all this out. The deal is 3 years with an option. The salary range is $7 to $12 million. Now, here's the wrinkle. The deal does not commence until May of 1994, 18 months from now.
What's all that about?
Well, it's rather transparently NBC's attempt to keep both you and Leno, at least for a while. The May date, as I understand it, coincides with the end of Leno's contract as the host of The Tonight Show.
But I get the show.
Yes.
I just don't get it now.
No.
I get it a year from May.
Yes.
And they don't force Jay out, right?
No, unless he quits, which I assume that he might. Maybe that's what they want him to do.
They're gonna Jay's gonna quit.
Not a chance. Not a chance, bro.
Jesus, can you believe this? They're gonna...
Dave, let me point out a few more things. CBS is offering more salary. CBS is offering ownership. CBS is also offering for the show to start in the fall. NBC the following spring. Maybe.
What's that? What's maybe?
Well, I mean that the deal is obviously very smoky in many details.
But I get the show, right?
No, not necessarily, David. The waiting period gives Jay 18 months to make the show a hit, and if he does, you can bet NBC will find a way to weasel out of the deal.
Honestly, Dave, CAA sees no reason to change its recommendation.
Mike, listen, you don't understand. It is every driver's dream to drive a Ferrari, and now you're asking me to give that up.
Well, I could probably buy some time. The NBC deadline is Monday. I could get a goalie in here on Saturday and Sunday and have him start drawing.
All right. Well, we know how all of that turned out. He ended up taking the CBS deal, but that is John Michael Higgins, our birthday boy. I'm trying to tell everybody how incredibly talented this guy is. So in that form, what we're going to do here now is I want to show you something else that you might know him from. This shows range. This dude can do everything. First of all, he nailed Letterman. I've seen that movie 100 times. That guy is great. Even David Letterman himself says, wow, that was he didn't like the movie at all. But and when it first came out, he was very critical of it. But over the years, he has commented on how pretty good job of portraying me. John Michael Higgins did. This is John Michael Higgins. This is another one of his more memorable roles. He's one of Christopher Guest's stable of comedic improv actors. For everything from Waiting for Guffman to Mighty Wind, all the Chris Guest mockumentary. Best in Show is probably the one that most people remember him from. This is him. This is John Michael Higgins playing a completely different role. Look at this range, okay? He's not a gay man, but he is playing a gay man. Back, I guess, in the 2000s, you could do that. If you weren't gay, you could play gay. This is John Michael Higgins in one of his greatest roles, in one of his greatest characters.
We got all fresh cuts today. We got top loin, porterhouse, T-bone, blade, bolt, tip, tri-tip, chuck. We got everything.
Amazing. So basically, meat.
Got a lot of meat.
Oh, good.
Got a lot of meat.
Tyrone would like those beef kidneys, so how about a half pound of those?
No, not the kidneys. It's the membranes. I don't want to pull
I'll
those things
take care
off.
of the membranes. Don't worry about it.
Randy, you could pull the membrane off.
Will you stop it? I think a little bit of the salmon, maybe a half pound of the salmon, half pound of the kidneys.
Half pound.
And do me a favor, just get one of those pepperoni sticks out. I just want to hold it.
Will you stop?
All right, that's enough. John Michael Higgins. He is brilliant. He is brilliant. Those two characters, those two New York successful gay men, madly in love with each other, completely different personalities. Michael McKean is this very straight, very sort of sophisticated man. And then his boyfriend, John Michael Higgins, is this flamboyant sex hound. He's kinky. He wants sex all the time. And everybody loves him. Anyway, that's great. John Michael Higgins. It's his birthday, and we should celebrate John Michael Higgins Day. Also celebrating a birthday today, Josh Brolin. I'd like to spend some time on him, but he was born James Brolin's son. Silver spoon, Nepo baby, all of that stuff. Born on this day in 1968. Here's another one, China Phillips. But she got kind of weird. China Phillips. Wilson Phillips. China Phillips. China Phillips is the daughter of Michelle Phillips and John Phillips of the Mamas and Papas. So yeah, another Nepo baby. When the children of John and Michelle Phillips and Brian and Carolyn Wilson, what was her name? Marilyn Wilson. No, maybe that was the mom. Anyway, the children, the Beach Boy kids and the Mom and the Papa kids came together, formed a group. They called it Wilson Phillips, and China was the hot one. That's what I was trying to get to. China was the hot one. She married a Baldwin, and now she's 60, and she's still really hot. And I know because I follow her on YouTube, and because she's kind of nuts. She's a super. Well, look, I don't mean to say nuts. I mean, she's interesting and she's funny, but she's really gotten into the whole God thing. She's very Christian. She's very Christian. That's her whole thing on YouTube is that China Phillips, Christian Ministries, blah, 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 and all that. But she's funny. She's funny. And I watched this video recently that she put up with her and her mom. I guess it was Michelle. I think Michelle Phillips is dead, isn't she? I don't know, but whatever. It was her and her mom. And they were really funny together. Anyway, happy birthday, China Phillips. She married a Baldwin. She's like a Bieber aunt. She's because she's in the whole Baldwin Bieber universe. Whenever Bieber does something, you always see China Phillips in the background. It's oh, okay. All right, moving on. Wilson Phillips, they weren't bad, right? I mean, they were what they were. They were an 80s sugar-coated pop band, but they weren't bad. Those songs weren't terrible. Hold on, right? Mountains. Who was the other one? Wendy and Carney Wilson. and China Phillips. I think that was it. That was Wilson Phillips. All right, moving on. Let's go. Next, we got birthdays to do here. Christina Ricci, born on this day in 1980. Christina Ricci. She's always been a very confusing individual for me. Christina Ricci, I met Christina Ricci when she was a young child actress, like in the 90s. She was, I don't know, probably 14, 15, something like that. She was a kid. She came in and cool. I knew who she was. I don't know what I knew who she was from, though. I don't know what she was. Was it Mermaids? It might have been when she was making Mermaids that she came in. I remember being upset because Winona Ryder, it was Mermaids, because it was Winona Ryder and Christina Ricci doing the press tours, the interviews. And I wanted Winona Ryder. Oh, I wanted Winona Ryder so bad. And we got Christina Ricci. She was nice. She was nice. She was a kid. Here's why it's confusing to me, because she grew up to be fairly sexy. She's a woman in her 40s now. I should be comfortable talking about the Christina Ricci, the child actress, grew up to be very sexy. But for some reason in my mind, she's still a kid. Like every time I see Christina Ricci, I see that little kid. So, you know, not spank bank material for me is what I'm trying to say. But I do know people who enjoy her. Born on this day, finally, the last birthday of the day here in Q2. Big birthday, Robert Griffin III, RG3. I really like RG3. He also does a lot of football breakdown and video stuff online and all that kind of stuff. He's pretty cool. I like him, RG3. Injuries, man. What could RG3 have been without the injuries? All right, there you go. That's it. That's all for Q2. Now let's move on to Q3. Let's do the deads. These are people who died on this day, who we get to decide whether they went to heaven or hell. Sal Mineo died on this day in 1976. Who's Sal Mineo? I'll tell you who Sal Mineo was. Sal Mineo was a big actor. He get 2 Oscar nominations, like right out of the box. He's nominated for 2 Oscars. Rebel Without a Cause and The Longest Day, maybe. It was a war movie, I think. It might have been The Longest Day. Sal Mineo was a thing. He was a very, he's going to be, in other words, he was coming about in a time when like the De Niros and the Pacinos and the class of actor, the Dustin Hoffman, the class of actor, that old school Hollywood actor, most notably Cary Grant, deemed the little uglies. There was this movement in the late 60s and 70s in Hollywood to move away from the dashing leading man and cast what Cary Grant would famously refer to as the little uglies. The little uglies being Robert De Niro, a young Robert De Niro, a young Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, these people. Sal Mineo was one of these little uglies that would have been in that group. Except for one thing, he was gay. He was gay, and people found out about it. And Sal Mineo kind of had his career go in the toilet. It wasn't. He admitted to some French publication that he was bisexual in like 1969, after being hounded for being gay, rumors that he's gay. And he's like, no, I'm not. And then he finally admitted to like some foreign newspaper, that he was bisexual. And oh my God, you couldn't do that in 1970 and expect to be put in movie theaters. Oh my God. And tragically, he died on this day in 1976. He was murdered. The dude was doing he was still a name. And because everyone knew he was a good actor, he was still getting like small work, but he was never going to be a star. He was watching, the De Niros and the Pacinos and all of these people now rocket past him when he was first in line. He was the guy already with multiple Oscar nominations, right? Before anybody knew who Nicholson, Hoffman, who knew who these guys were. Well, what are you going to do? Sal Mineo, he died in 1976 in a really tragic way. He was going to his penthouse apartment, so he still had a penthouse apartment. He was going to his penthouse apartment. He was parked in the underground parking garage, walking to the elevator. He was stabbed twice in the chest by a mugger and was murdered right there. Sal Mineo, I'm putting him in heaven because it's a really rough story. And he seemed like a good dude. He seemed like a very talented guy who was just gay in the wrong era. Born on this or dead on this day in the year 2000. Here's one. I'm preemptively putting this guy in heaven. Why? Because I'm in Dallas and I'd be nuts not to, even though we have a rule. Football coaches almost always have to go to hell, but not when we're talking about Tom Landry. Not when I'm doing this show in Dallas. Tom Landry, dead on this day in 2000. I wasn't here for that. I wasn't here for the Landry death. I bet that was a big day here. But that was like a heavy, heavy day. And I only say that because I remember, I was in Chicago when Walter died, and I was in Chicago when Papa Bear Hallis died. So, I mean, I remember how that city just kind of was like, everything was sad. Everything was just. So I imagine it was probably similar to that here with Tom Landry. Talk about a beloved icon. Why isn't there, Rio de Janeiro has that giant statue of Jesus? We should have that. Go out to like Cedar Hill or something on one of those hills, build a giant 1,000-foot statue of Tom Landry. That's what this city wants. How do we get that done? Talk about a tourist attraction. Okay, so fine. So we can do this. I understand the economy being what it is. What if we just take the Reunion Arena, and what if we just turn him into Tom Landry? There you go. We can do that. Tom Landry, dead on this day in 2000. He went to heaven. Dead on this day in 2014, he's going to hell. Sid Caesar. Sid Caesar, icon of television. Sid Caesar represents something that I despise. If you're going to let me go on to a little bit of a rant here, which why not? This is a 2-hour plus stream of consciousness rant on current events, and it is Sid Caesar's death day. Sid Caesar was an iconic American comedian of the 1950s. He had a TV show that became the biggest TV show in the world when there were only 3 TV shows in the world. That's when he was dominant, okay? Sid Caesar was a son of a bitch. The stories about what an SOB this guy was. Here's another problem that I've always had with Sid Caesar. Sid Caesar became famous doing a form of comedy that I think is absolutely, I'm just not interested in it. Let's call it that. Sid Caesar was one of these comics who thought like making a funny noise would get a laugh. Turning slow deadpan to the camera, making a funny face. Right? That was it. That was Sid Caesar's brand of comedy. It was stupid, and I hate it. And I'll tell you something that I really resent. I resent modern young people comedy. Like the kind of comedy that my son is really getting into is this YouTube brand of comedy that is less dependent on wit and more dependent on some sort of visual fantasy, fantastic event. Something like this is hysterical. Look at the face he makes. I'm like, yeah, faces aren't funny. Words are funny. Thoughts are funny. Intellectual ability to take a serious situation and make it humorous. That's what comedy should be. At least that's what it should be to me. And nothing more interesting than somebody making rules for comedy. No, I get that. I just, Sid Caesar had a stupid brand of comedy, and I'm seeing it come back. Screw you, Sid Caesar. You're going to hell. Legendary huge penis. That's the other thing I'll say about Sid Caesar as we move on. Dead on this day in 2017. I'm putting this guy in heaven, and I'm putting him in heaven because of some information that I just recently became familiar with. Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau died on this day back in the year 2017. Al Jarreau, we're going to put him in heaven. Why? Because I just watched that Netflix We Are the World documentary. And Al Jarreau was there. Al Jarreau was very big in 84. Al Jarreau was, big soul singer. Oh, lovely voice. Al Jarreau seemed to be very helpful at the We Are the World. I'm putting him in heaven because there was a scene where Al Jarreau seemed to be a leader among all of those people. At least somebody who was like, I was on the ball. Because let me tell you something, and this was not talked about during the special. But when you watch that Netflix We Are the World documentary special, you need to remind yourself that every single one of those people are blown out of their minds on cocaine. You got to remind yourself that while you're watching that, cocaine was everywhere. Not a mention of it. Not a single mention of drugs or alcohol in the whole thing. But they had just come from the American Music Awards. The recording of We Are the World came after the American Music Awards. It was a timing thing. It was because that's when everybody was going to be in one spot. Everybody that they wanted for We Are the World. Think of the logistics of that, trying to get all those different touring musicians all over the world in one room on one day at one time. It's crazy. So they had to do it around the American Music Awards when all these people were going to come to attend this big industry event. Those people were all drunk and high in the 80s at that. It's 8 o'clock. Now it's 11. Now it's 12. They're trying to record this stupid song. 150 people hearing it for the first time. They're all coming down off of, whatever the drugs were that they were on at the big TV special they all just attended. Oh, it was mayhem. And Al Jarreau seemed to be helpful. That's all I'm saying. He seemed to be helpful. Dead on this day in 2017. Dead on this day in 2022. I'm going to put him in heaven just because of all of the delight that he has given me in these years. Normally, we might do a draft for a dude like this, but I think we've probably done his draft in the past. Dead on this day in 2022, going to heaven, film director, film producer, comedic icon, Ivan Reitman. I like Ivan Reitman. Ghostbusters. He's involved in everything from Animal House to Kentucky Fried Movie, Stripes to Meatballs, Ghostbusters. He did everything. Ivan Reitman. I love him. That's actually an interesting draft to do. 80s filmmakers draft. Like, where would Ivan Reitman rank among, say, a John Landis or a John Hughes? Ooh, isn't that an interesting draft? All right, I'll think about that. That's going to do it, folks. That's it. Quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3 is in the books. Now is the time we once again thank our executive producer of this show, Jen K. Jen got us across the finish line last month. This show runs on your tips, your contributions. Thank you so much to Jen K. So guys, see, who else do I see? Let's see. Adam, thank you to Adam. Thank you to Byron. Thank you to Kojak. Coach, all of you guys helped us last month. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to leave that up if anybody feels so inclined they want to drop a little something. Let's get into all of the things that people are talking about today. This is quarter 4 of the rant. Hold on. Got another text. This one might be important. Oh, damn it, my stupid phone. Do you guys have like a fingerprint thing on your phone? Like, is your security lock on your phone your fingerprint? Because I did that like a while. I'm like, oh, this is new. This will be high tech and cool. So, but the problem is it's got to be this finger, It's like, so I got to reach around. It's inconvenient. I don't need any security on my phone. I really don't. I live alone. The dog is not going to, I don't need security on my phone. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's talk about all the things that are happening in this world today. First and foremost, let's talk about the Super Bowl. That's right. The Super Bowl is the big story. It's collectively what we all did yesterday. We all did it. Al says, wasn't Al Jarreau drunk? I don't know. Was he a drunk or what? They were probably all drunk. We Are the World recording, man. Like I said, that was cocaine mostly. But, I mean, there were all kinds of things those people were on. Drinking, please, that's nothing. Those people are always drunk. You think any of them are sober? Musicians after the American Music Awards? Come on. All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl. Do we even know what the final score was? 25-22, something like that? Kansas City? Wasn't a great game. I mean, I guess the ending was great. It was to overtime. What do you mean it wasn't a great game? Well, there wasn't a lot of excitement. There were 2 big plays, right? I think Kansas City had a big play downfield early, and then there was the McCaffrey touchdown, which was that trick little panda play that actually worked. Kelsey made a big 3rd down play to pick up the 1st down and extend the game. That was good. I just don't know that when I think about the gameplay, it was sloppy, man. Fumbles and, not a lot of penalties, though. Not penalty sloppy. Maybe I shouldn't say sloppy, but there did seem to be a lot of balls on the ground, mishandlings, stuff like that. It wasn't a terribly penalized game. Okay, so that's the game stuff. I got nothing else. I made a list of things that I observed about the Super Bowl. So I thought we would go through. I would go through these lists. I'll just rant through them. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time, but it's as the game evolves. So this will go from the early stages to the late stages, and maybe you'll see the point where I stopped paying attention and lost interest. But here we go. Post Malone came out and sang America the Beautiful. That was freaking great. But that is a bad look, man. Beautiful song, but he has got a bad look. Reba McEntire then did the national anthem. She was fine. Reba. That's, America's national anthem. Yeah, why not? Let's get Reba out there. Who's going to complain about that? But here's the observation on the national anthem. They were playing inside a dome stadium, and they still had fighter jets fly over the outside. Now, I know that this isn't the first time they've done that, but that's stupid. There's no reason. The dome is closed. The fighter jets are for the people in the stadium. I guess not. I guess it's for the TV. It's stupid. It's stupid to have the fighter jets fly over the stadium if nobody in the stadium can see the fighter jets. It's the oh wow factor. That's the whole reason fighter jets fly over an open stadium, so that the people in the stadium can feel the jet wash and go, oh wow. It's a closed stadium. It made no sense. We have no rules anymore. Gronk missed the FanDuel 25-yard field goal. I think this was a betting opportunity for people on FanDuel. You could bet money and you can win if you made the field goal. It was a live commercial hosted by the always lovely Kay Adams. Gronk got out there in his stupid little uniform that was too small for him because, comedy. And he got out and he kicked the field goal, and he didn't make it. Second year in a row, right? Is Gronk practicing? He's got all year to try and make it 20. He can't do it next year. They got to get somebody else in there because Gronk can't make field goals. And it'll probably be Gronk again. All right, let's see here. Commercials. This was the first commercial that I saw that I thought was interesting. And by the way, I've read nothing about the commercials, so these are all going to be totally unique opinions. Usually, people are like, this was the best commercial. I don't know. These were just my notes in real time, okay? First commercial that I liked was the BetMGM commercial that excluded Tom Brady. I thought that was very funny. I thought that was, I don't know who hosted that. Vince Vaughn did a BetMGM commercial, and he said, here's an opportunity for all of you to be winners and blah, 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 except Tom Brady. Tom Brady, and they kept showing Tom Brady's picture. What a great advertising campaign. That is a really clever campaign. This is a chance for everybody to win except for Tom Brady. Very funny. Kudos to the people who put that together. That's a great ad. BetMGM. HeGetsUs.com. That's the Jesus people. These are the Jesus people who I love. These are the Jesus people who I think, I could probably get along with. He Gets Us. They started doing these commercials last year. And they were pretty powerful commercials last year about who Jesus really was. Not American Jesus, not evangelical jet flying around the country Jesus. No, washing the feet of the poor and accepting everybody and hanging out with the dregs of society, joining their ranks to raise them up. That's who Jesus was. At least that's who I think Jesus is. So those commercials I really think are terrific. He Gets Us. I will say this. They got a little preachy. But we're talking about Jesus, and that's what Jesus does. So you can't fault him for being preachy in a Jesus commercial. Okay. Let's see what else. Beer wars. It's always interesting, the different beer commercials. However, I'll say this. It seemed to only be Anheuser-Busch beers last night. So the beer wars essentially came down to Mick Ultra versus Bud Light versus Budweiser. Those were the three beer commercials that we saw. The first one was, I think, the best one. And I don't mean to, we'll talk about the other two as well, but the first one was the one with Lionel Messi, where it was for Bud Light, right? Mick Ultra. It was Mick Ultra. It was Lionel Messi. He's on the beach and he's hanging out with Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis, and he does some moves. I thought it was a clever Mick Ultra commercial. That was a good one. Let's see. Homes.com with Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, Dan Levy and Heidi Gardner from Saturday Night Live. Homes.com. Now, I don't know. Whatever. Those two, that was fine. It wasn't an inspired commercial. It was reminiscent of a lot of other Super Bowl commercials where you just get two famous people to play silly roles. But what was interesting about the Homes.com commercial was at the end of the very first commercial where they were in a boardroom. One of the people sitting at the boardroom was Jeff Goldblum, who is the spokesperson for apartmentrentals.com or something. And here he is turning up in a Homes commercial, like just as the same guy. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if Homes.com and the company that Jeff Goldblum works for are one and the same. They very well may be, but if they're not, then I think that Jeff Goldblum probably doesn't have an ironclad contract with that apartment rental thing, because he went and did a commercial for the Homes.com people dressed exactly like the character that he is when he tries to get people to rent apartments. Anyway, I thought that one was interesting. Let's see here. Then they came back. They came back here. We'd already talked about Gronk tried to kick the 25-yard field goal live on TV. It was a live commercial just before the coin flip or kickoff or whatever it was. He missed it, okay? But then they came back later in the second quarter during commercial break, and they talked about the Gronk missing the field goal. And, whatever. It featured Carl Weathers, who had just died. And I thought that was pretty powerful. I thought, oh, okay, so like the last thing that Carl Weathers did in life was shoot a Super Bowl commercial. Okay, that was kind of cool. What else do we have here? Trey Greenlaw. That was the thing when they came out of that commercial break, is when Trey Greenlaw, the standout linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, seemed to rupture his Achilles tendon getting ready to run back on the field. Oh my God, in the Super Bowl? We were reminded almost immediately of Martin Gramatica being lost for the season after celebrating a field goal. He kicked a field goal and jumped up in the air and came down and shattered his knee. We'd always thought about that as the most hard luck story. I mean, my God. Trey Greenlaw in the second quarter of the Super Bowl, rupturing his Achilles, trying to run back out onto the field. Man, God bless you, Trey Greenlaw, because that sucks. All right, back to the commercials. Let's see here. Dunkin' Donuts. This, I believe, is the commercial of the night. This, I thought, was the best commercial of the night. It featured J-Lo, Ben Affleck, Tom Brady, and Matt Damon. The premise was J-Lo and Ben Affleck are married again, or whatever, from whatever. J-Lo and Ben Affleck. So they're J-Lo is recording in the music studio, and Ben Affleck wants to be a hip-hop star. So that's the premise. Ben Affleck is trying to pressure his wife into letting him appear on her new album as this alter ego, the Dunk King. The Dunkin' Donuts commercial. His DJ is Tom Brady. It's very funny. Matt Damon is there, but Matt Damon is there as Ben Affleck's best friend. The way we always think of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Damon is there. He doesn't support this. It's his friend, and he's there for his boy, but he wants everybody to know he thinks this is a bad idea. Very funny commercial. That was, I think, the best commercial of the day. The Dunkin' Donuts, Affleck, J-Lo, Brady, and Matt Damon. I thought that was really good. Here's another thing that I observed while watching the Super Bowl last night. I guess I never realized how many shitty TV shows CBS has. CBS really pushed all of their garbage sitcoms that looks like they were pulled out of a dumpster behind a Denny's restaurant in 1992. I mean, just look, these bad family-oriented sitcoms. I'm like, God, that is just not the world we live in now. They're still doing this? Ugh. What else? The RFK Jr. commercial. This is making some news today. The RFK Jr. commercial, a PAC, Political Action Committee, that RFK Jr. says he has nothing to do with, ran a Super Bowl ad, which was pretty good. Pretty well done. Now, look, you people, you have to understand, I'm looking at these things. I'm an advertising fetishist. I love advertising. All right. So I'm not looking at this like, God, hey, I'm a vax denier. I'm not looking at it like, hey, he's a Democrat. I'm not looking at like any of that stuff. I'm looking at this like, wow, did that ad make an impact? And you better damn well believe that it did, because everybody is talking about the RFK Jr. ad today. It was an ad that took a jingle that his uncle, JFK, President Kennedy, used when he was running for president in 1960 against Richard Nixon. They took a jingle from that and they superimposed it with artwork reminiscent of the 1960s, artwork that reminiscent of the artwork that accompanied the original JFK ad, except for it was now all RFK instead of JFK. It was a good ad. If, and I'm saying this, look, okay, just understand this. If I am in the camp of RFK Jr. and I'm running for president, that was great for us. That was great for us. Now, some blowback concerning that. His cousin, one of the Shrivers, said that he used one of the likenesses in the commercial was the likeness of Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who was Eunice Kennedy Shriver is the aunt of. Anyway, it's very convoluted, but the son of Eunice Kennedy Shriver, RFK Jr.'s cousin, blasted him on Twitter last night. You are not a Kennedy. The family wants nothing to do with you. Eunice, my mother, would be turning in her grave to think that she's being used like this. Anyway, it was pretty powerful stuff from a high-ranking member of the current Kennedy family. So much so that RFK Jr. today had to come out and apologize. Came out, he apologized. He said he had nothing to do with that ad. He wants to deeply and sincerely apologize to his family members who have made their displeasure with the ad known. And he said he had nothing to do with it. He said that he wasn't asked about it. He wasn't, he didn't approve it. His campaign didn't approve it. It's a political action committee that ran that ad. I think that's bullshit. I think, of course, he saw it, because if I'm RFK Jr., first of all, he saw it. Okay. The political action committees and the actual parties, they have liaisons, whether official or unofficial, but they're having dinner every freaking night and they're talking on the phone 20 times a day. So when you say they're not officially attached to us, no, they're not officially. There is no paperwork that says that they're an official entity or part of your campaign, but they are a political action committee, and you're lying to us, or you're taking us all for dupes. And why wouldn't you? I mean, look at the way the American voting public has behaved in the past 10 years. We are all a bunch of dupes. So why wouldn't he just think that we're too stupid to understand what's going on here? Of course he approved it. And why wouldn't he? I would too. It was a great ad. So you pissed off your cousins. Your cousins hate you. You're not a ranking member. You should be. You should be a very high-ranking member of the Kennedy family. You're the son of Bobby. But you're not, because over the course of the past 15 to 20 years, you have, I don't know, you've been sideways with the family, and the family didn't want anything to do with you. And now you're running on the family name, and the family wants to say, hey, no. And now he's apologizing. So there you go. But I thought that was a great ad. Also, first half, 2 times. That's what I saw. I don't know. Maybe I missed something coming back from a commercial. First half, 2 times. Taylor Swift was shown 2 times. Total of 6 seconds. 6 seconds, 2 times, first half. That's what I saw. Now, I may have missed some. And if I missed some, it's obviously an indicator that they weren't lingering on her. Okay? They showed her with Blake. By the way, she was hanging out with Blake Lively, who is Mrs. Ryan Reynolds. She was hanging out with Ice Spice, who was apparently under the impression it was a costume party, and she went as Ronald McDonald. And then she was with another girl. I don't know who the other girl she was with. Was it Selena Gomez? It was a Selena Gomez looking girl. Woo! I liked her. That was a box full of beautiful women. And as a heterosexual middle-aged man, I applaud that. That was great. To see Blake Lively standing next to Taylor Swift, I just wanted to, I don't know, castrate myself and just go, why? What's the point? That's not ever going to be on the menu for a person. They are 2 of the most beautiful. I'm not a blonde guy. I don't like blondes. I'm not crazy about blondes, but I do understand the classic blonde. Taylor Swift standing next to Blake Lively is like, man, world wars have been started over women not that attractive. Crazy. And then you got Ice Spice. Ice Spice is there. Hey, Ice Spice. She's an attractive woman. I think Ice Spice is hot. Not necessarily when she's doing the Ronald McDonald thing, but I think I've seen the pictures and I've seen the videos, and I know who Ice Spice is. My son likes her. I think I actually find her more attractive than my son does, which is weird. But now we're talking about levels of attraction, right? Ice Spice might be the hottest girl coming out of the club in Brooklyn at 3:00 in the morning. She might be. Man, look at her. She's hot coming out of that Brooklyn club at 3 a.m. But now she's standing next to Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. And we are in a completely different, that's a whole different thing. Anyway, just a couple of times. I don't know. I did not find, objectively, I did not find Taylor Swift's presence to be a problem yesterday. Moving on. Let's see. Halftime show. This is where a lot of people are going to get mad at me. That is the lamest halftime show I ever saw. I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm a racist for not liking the halftime show. Is that it? Let me give you my take on the halftime show. Usher Don't get them. Can you explain to me the difference between an Usher and a Bruno Mars? Because if you can, maybe then I'll go, yeah, that's why you should do the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl halftime show is supposed to be for icons. It's supposed to be for people who are indistinguishable from, no, not indistinguishable, people who are independent and unique and great artists. The big ones, Prince, Rolling Stones, Janet Jackson, I mean, we're talking about bigs. Usher ain't that for me. When I think of Usher and I go, wait, what's the difference between him and Bruno Mars? And no one can tell me, they're the same kind of thing. There's nothing special about Usher. He's got one song from 20 years ago that I know, but then again, I'm a middle-aged white guy. So, and also understanding, I just talked about how I'm an advertising fetish, completely understanding that was not for me. They did not sit in a boardroom and design that halftime show and say, how do we make a 54-year-old white man happy? It wasn't for me. And I'm fine with that. I don't know. That's not my anger, because I am seeing a lot of dudes out there. I didn't like it. What happened? Why couldn't you have, I don't know who, Toby Keith? Well, because he's dead. But you know what I mean? Like, there is that crowd out there that I do think there is, like, I just didn't think Usher was the guy. I did not think that Usher had the body of work that was going to be able to wow the globe. More Alicia Keys and Little John, less Usher. That's what I would say. That's what I thought. Anyway, those are my takes. It's nothing to do with I love Alicia Keys. I've seen Alicia Keys 3 times. Screw you people. You're just a white guy who doesn't. No, I love Alicia Keys. Ask my son. My son, there's no reason that my son should know like 10 Alicia Keys songs or Erykah Badu songs. But he does. Why? Because his dad has a weird love of that kind of music. A beautiful songbird music. Soulful songbird music. So it's like, but man, so many people are making it about race. I'm like, this one is really not about race. Not enjoying the Usher halftime show really has nothing to do with, for some it does, and admittedly for some people race has everything to, but for me it's just he ain't good enough. Sorry. And we watched it and I wasn't impressed. And then here's the other thing that bothered me about Usher. He did this whole, hey mom, we made it, right? Supposed to give chills to all the people out there. Wow, isn't that great? That dude's been famous since he's 10. What do you mean, hey mom, we made it? You guys made it when you were in the 4th grade. I don't understand this. Usher, I'm not a fan. Anyway, moving on. Now. That, okay. I don't even care that that's Usher, right? Isn't that more Little John? Isn't that more Little John? Yeah. Anyway, whatever. I like that song. And that was good. And he made us wait till like the very end. I'm like, when are we going to get the... All right, moving on. Let's see here. What else did I like about the Super Bowl? More Super Bowl notes. The Bud Light Genie. That was funny. The Beer Wars. Bud Light Genie was funny. Not as cool as the Mick Ultra with Messi kicking the ball around with Ted Lasso. I give the Beer Wars winner between Bud Light, the Bud Light Genie, and Mick Ultra. I give that to Mick Ultra. All right, moving on. What else do we have here? Another, I thought this was a great ad. Okay. So, Volkswagen did that Neil Diamond ad. I am, I said, or whatever, whatever that was. I thought that was a really well done ad. Now, I'm in the tank for Volkswagen. Volkswagen is my favorite company with Nazi ties. I've got a couple. I really enjoy Hugo Boss, but as far as like my favorite company with Nazi ties that we've all just kind of went, well, all right, it was the time. Volkswagen is that for me. I've owned 2 Volkswagens. 2 of my 3 favorite cars that I've ever owned were Volkswagens. They were the best made. People are like, Volkswagens, you get a bad one, it's a really bad one. I've never had a bad one. My 2 Volkswagens were awesome. I love them. I had a Jetta that ran forever that I freaking loved. And then I had a Touareg, one of those cool Touareg GT that was awesome. It was one of those SUVs. I learned that the Volkswagen Touareg is made on it's the exact same car as the Porsche SUV, whatever the Porsche, the Cayenne. They're both made on the same assembly line in Stuttgart, Germany. They're just one is branded Porsche, the other is branded Volkswagen. And the engine's a little bit different, of course. You want something a little different with the Porsche. But I was trying to convince my friend to go buy a whole bunch of Cayennes, or not Cayennes, a whole bunch of old Volkswagen Touaregs and like just change them and turn them into what we were going to call Porsche wagons. Porsche wagons! I'm telling you, people would buy Porsche wagons. It's just a Touareg with a Porsche logo on it, and nobody knows the difference. Porsche wagons. All right, Volkswagen. I thought that was a good commercial. And the final Beer Wars commercial was the old style, not old style, but Budweiser went old style. They went classic, traditional, dogs, Clydesdales, king of beers. That was the Take a Load Off, the song by the band. Take the load off, man. And then they show like Clydesdales pulling. Okay, whatever. They had to do one. So of the Beer Wars, the best one I thought was the Lionel Messi. The Lionel Messi Mick Ultra spot. That's it. Other than that, the game, like I said, I don't know what I think of that game. That game, I don't know what I think of it. I that I didn't really I was rooting for the 49ers, but I wasn't really, I don't care. Like when it was over, I was like, okay, whatever. I don't care. Here's something. It's been revealed that a number of San Francisco 49er players did not know the overtime rules. Now, that doesn't change anything. And I think it was Eric Armstead who was the first who went on record with the San Francisco Chronicle after the game, saying that he was unaware. He didn't know what the overtime rules were. And he said it in almost a, here's the excuse. I didn't know. Like he thinks that's an excuse. Like, I don't know, if I was a 26, 20, well, what's Armstead? Armstead's probably over 30. If I'm a 25-year-old kid making millions of dollars to play a game, I'm going to take the time to learn every goddamn rule of that game. It's not an excuse after the Super Bowl to go, well, we didn't know the overtime rules. Learn the overtime rules, dude. All you do is play football and lift weights. You can learn the overtime. I just get so mad at that. And then a whole bunch of other 49ers players are like, yeah, it's Kyle Shanahan's fault. He didn't have us briefed up on the overtime rules. We didn't. Oh, shut up. Know the overtime rules. You shouldn't feel comfortable admitting that. That's my big problem with you, Eric Armstead. You should not feel comfortable saying to a reporter, well, here's what happened. I didn't know what the overtime rules were. Learn the overtime rules. You're a millionaire playing a child's game. Learn the freaking rules, you disrespectful fool. So that's how I felt about that. All right. Super Bowl, duly covered. Are we good? Leslie C. says, my last two cars were a VW Passat and Tiguan. Adam says, VW makes a solid car, but man, are they expensive to maintain. Yeah, that is true. They are expensive. The oil changes on my Touareg, because it was made at the Porsche thing, $175. $175 for an oil change? Well, it explains why the engine blew. I'll tell you that. Apparently Adam Moreno, who I thought had good taste in music, is a huge supporter of the massive talents of Usher. Isn't he? What is the problem here? Why would Adam so weirdly support Usher? Because I saw Adam also tweeted something about Usher. Or no, I think he said something like it was for women. Or that's fine. Isn't there like a right-wing crazy MAGA thing about Usher being a pedophile child who was raised up into Hollywood and that he's not really deserving? He's just keeping the secret. Something like that. There's I know just about every Hollywood star, there's like some story, some crazy story you can. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's why Adam is, because Adam maybe knows that Usher has been like a target of MAGA or something. And so now he's like Mr. Usher. I don't know. Usher's lame. Oh, Adam says he doesn't like Usher. Okay, never mind. Thank you. That's my bad. I take back everything I just said while I was waxing poetic in my stream of consciousness, trying to figure out what's going on inside Adam Moreno's mind. Not the first time I've done that. Won't be the last. All right, I'm dragging my ass here because the Super Bowl was all light and frivolity and all that kind of stuff. And the first story we got to talk about is the shooting in Houston yesterday. crazy. I almost went live with this, but it was so slow to evolve. Talking about the Lakewood Church in Houston yesterday. That's where Joel Osteen does his stuff. Joel Osteen, one of them Christians who, American Jesus, American silver spoon, daddy struck oil Jesus. That's who Joel Osteen is all about. So at his church yesterday, there was a shooting. And I don't know. So it first started to pop off. Is that a terrible way to describe it? Because, you know, I get the alarms. I get the alarms that go off on my scanners. And I'm like, okay, something's going on. And I see it's Houston. And then it says shooting at Lakewood. And I'm like, Lakewood? That's Osteen's church. So I'm like, okay, what's going on down there? So I start following it. And so I almost went live yesterday but it was Super Bowl day. And I just felt like, and thankfully, it turned out to be minimal as far as, you know, the tragic end result of it all. Minimal. There is some innocence that was affected by it, and that's what I want to get into here. The story of what happened at the Lakewood Church yesterday is so weird. We have so many questions, and I hope over the next couple of hours that we'll be able to find out something. So here's what happened. So at 2 p.m. every Sunday, the Lakewood Church holds a Spanish language service. There's a bunch of Mexican people, bunch of Spanish language people. So right there, you know, you're like, oh, well, that's interesting. But don't jump to any conclusions. Just file that away in a piece of information that you have. That is an absolute fact about what happened there. So there was a 2 o'clock Spanish language church attended by 10,000 plus Mexican people, Mexican Americans, not only that, Spanish speaking individuals. Let's put it that way. A woman entered through the west side venue doors that were unlocked. This is a weird thing. They're not supposed to be unlocked, but they were somehow unlocked, and she opened it and she walked right in. She was wearing a trench coat. She had a backpack. She had what's being described as, you know, a long gun. I don't know what that is. A rifle? Turns out it's an AR-15. She had an AR-15. I don't know what. Shut up. I don't care. You know what I mean? And it's one of them words. That's a fact that I don't like to hear. Well, fuck. It's a fact, dude. Okay, so she had an AR-15, trench coat, backpack, and a 5-year-old child in tow. She began spraying a substance on the floor. She wasn't spraying it in the air. The first reports were that she began spraying an aerosol. She wasn't spraying it in the air. She weirdly, as described by a number of witnesses, began spraying it in circles around her on the floor. Okay. It was at this point that she reached underneath her trench coat to reveal the long gun. She immediately began firing. She fired, I believe they said 7 shots, but I've heard video and I can't tell, but it sounds like there was more. So there was 7 shots or so right away. Pap, 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 pap. And then a pause, and then pap. And that's it. And if you heard the audio, you know what that is. That was crazy lady starts opening fire, starts spraying guns, doing that shit. That crazy person shit we have to deal with. She's doing that. And some dude who was there, who was an off-duty Houston police officer who was assigned to the church as undercover security, drew his gun, put her down. Another guy, a TABC officer, off-duty, who was also there as security for the church, hired security for the church, he also fired. Now, we don't know, and as I said, we're waiting on all of these details. So the woman, which is already weird, it's a woman doing this, and she's got a kid with her. The kid was shot as well. The woman was killed. The woman was shot, and she didn't die immediately. Before she died, she told the people around her that she had bombs. So that's why they had bomb sniffing and all that kind of stuff. There was a whole search that went on for hours after this occurred. She shot one man, a 57-year-old man, was shot in the hip. Okay, that's it. And he's going to be okay. So that's good. She is dead. And the 5-year-old child who was with her, who we don't know if that was her child. We don't know her name. We don't know if that was her child. These are just the details. I'm just giving you everything that we do know. That child was critically wounded. Now, I've heard reports that that child was shot in the head, and I've heard reports that that child was shot in the leg. I don't know. The constant thread, though, in all the reports is that he's listed in critical condition. 5-year-old child gets dragged to a shooting. I got a lot of questions about this. Who shot the kid? Why did you look? Fog of war, man. Fog of war. Fog of war. Fog of war. You got some crazy persons. I mean, she is responsible for whatever happened to that child, for bringing a child into that situation. Okay, if that child is shot in the ensuing gunfire that is answering her gunfire, I mean, come on, my God. Could you imagine being a guy who draws your gun in that situation to put this killer down, and you hit a kid? You hit the kid that's with her? There's no malice in that man's heart. That man's not going, I'm going to kill that little child. That was not what happened. He's a bad shot. He shot the kid. He panicked, whatever. I don't know. Just a tragic situation. But somebody shot that kid. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in what a scene, man. What else do we know about this? This is strange. She had Free Palestine written on her AR-15, which is something these killers are doing now. They're writing a little message on their gun. Last few seem to have done this. So she wrote Free Palestine. Now, we don't know motive. All we know is that she's got Free Palestine written on her gun. Now, that certainly suggests a motive, but nobody with more information, because right now this is all the information we have, but we have to believe that there are people there with more information. Those people haven't, really come out with a motive yet. But if it says Free Palestine on the AR-15, again, I don't know what motive that speaks to. Is she anti-Jew? Is she pro-Muslim? Did the fact that this was a 2 p.m. Spanish language service have anything to do with it? She's a woman? Is this a abortion thing? We need details on this. Obviously we know this. We know that she was a sick, crazy 35-year-old woman. So I guess her motivation doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, but it is a bit of, juicy gossip. We want to know. We want to know what it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter. What matters is she's crazy, and the crazy people are just out there walking around because we don't give a shit about crazy people. Not even enough to try and keep guns away from them. That's how little we care about crazy people. We want you to get a gun and kill yourself, and maybe some of us. Barney says her name sounds Italian. Now, before I signed on today, they had not released her name. So I don't know what you're getting, Barney. I don't know what you're seeing. There has been no official Cron. The Houston Chronicle is where you should get all the best information. Let's see here. Let me see if there's something new.
Here's a map of Highland Park, Texas.
I didn't ask for that. Hold on a second. Stop it! Every time I talk. Lakewood church shooting. All right, let's see what the latest here is. Okay, so we did. So we have a name 42 minutes ago. Thank you, Barney. I appreciate that. Barney got me on the right scent here. Yes. So the woman has now been identified. Lakewood church shooting suspect identified. It's still unclear why the woman decided to walk inside Lakewood Church on Sunday and open fire. Let's see here. The person accused of firing rounds at Joel Olstein's Lakewood Church on Sunday has been identified as Janice Yvonne Moreno. Okay. Yeah. I mean, but that Moreno, that's spelling of Moreno. And I know this as a Moran. I know the Moreno is the Spanish Armada influence on the, anyway, it's a whole long thing. Moran and Moreno are basically the same thing. This is the Spanish. That's Spanish spelling of Moreno. Right? Janice Yvonne Moreno. She looks Spanish. I'm looking at a mugshot of her. Well, maybe you guys could. Here, we'll show you. We'll pull this up. I don't know. Here we go. All right, this is her. Let's get a look at her. Would you stop with the pop-ups? All right, here we go. Boom. There she is. What I'm guessing, that looks like a mugshot. So I'm guessing she's probably run afoul of the rules and regs a time or two in her past. She's Hispanic. Okay, it says here, Janice Yvonne Moreno, a 36-year-old Hispanic female. Okay, so the fact that it was a Spanish language service was not an anti-immigrant. So let's remove that political aspect from this, okay? This wasn't somebody, in a red hat going, I hate the Mexicans, and, doing all that. Okay, we can eliminate that. That's very good. Maybe she was just aware that there would be a lot of people there at that time because she knows people who go to that service. Okay, there you go. Maybe she was looking for someone specific. We don't know. Maybe, dragging her baby to her baby daddy at church. We don't know. Why is she with a kid? These are all questions. We've also learned a pro-Palestinian message was written on the gun used by Moreno. Further details about what exactly the message read was not released. The investigation into it's been released elsewhere. It's Free Palestine. Further detail. I applaud them being, careful about information, but still, I've seen it enough other places. It said Free Palestine. Further details about what exactly the message read was not released. The investigation into the motive of the shooting is ongoing. 2 people, including a 5-year-old boy, were shot and are in the hospital after a Sunday shooting. I should also point this out. She walked in. God, folks, seriously, we don't know anything. There's a lot of people jumping to conclusions and just making assumptions and going off on screeds about what they assume. We don't know anything. We know so little that, in fact, listen to the way this is worded. This is worded like this on purpose. 2 people, including a 5-year-old boy, were shot and are in hospital after Sunday's shooting. Nobody has said that the 5-year-old boy who is in the hospital is the child that she brought. All we know is that she brought a child and that there's a child that was in the hospital, but nobody has said, there is no real official details. All we know, detail-wise, is that it was a 2 p.m. Spanish language church, but we've eliminated that from a possibility as being a reason for the attack because she herself is, actually, maybe we shouldn't. Okay, never mind. So here's what we know. We know it was a 2 p.m. Spanish language service. We know that she entered with a gun, a backpack, a trench coat, and a kid. We know that a 57-year-old man and a 5-year-old child, a 5-year-old boy, were taken to the hospital. And we know that she's dead. But then nobody's saying it's her kid. Is it her kid, or did she just grab a kid as a hostage? We don't know. We need to know a whole bunch more. 2 people, including the 5-year-old boy, were shot and are in the hospital. Authorities said Moreno was killed by 2 off-duty officers working security. It all unfolded as thousands of people were packed inside the megachurch. Overnight agents with the FBI, Texas Rangers, and ATF raided a Conroe home believed to be connected to Moreno. Video from the scene shows a large law enforcement presence. Houston police said Moreno, who had a 5-year-old boy with her. Okay, now we're learning this, but still didn't say that it was the one. Walked inside Lakewood Church at 1:53 p.m. wearing a trench coat and armed with a long rifle. She reportedly started shooting immediately. Houston, but they've told us that a 5-year-old boy went to the hospital, and they've told us that she walked in with a 5-year-old boy. But what they have not told us is that 5-year-old boy who's in the hospital and the 5-year-old boy she walked into is one and the same. That's good journalism. It's good journalism because they don't know. A Houston police officer and a TABC agent were working off duty inside the church. They quickly returned fire, killing the woman almost instantly. As Moreno went down, officers reported that she threatened to have a bomb. Officers with the bomb squad searched her car and backpack and found no explosives. Authorities said it's unclear who fired the shots that hit the child and the man. We don't understand why these things... We don't even know who shot who. Like, that's... Details. Anyway, the bottom line of this is that it could have been really bad. There were thousands and thousands of people there, innocent people on Super Bowl Sunday going to church. Could have been really bad, and it wasn't. So, thank you to whoever's calling the shots on these things. Could have been really bad, but it really wasn't. At the same time that this is going on, I want to direct your attention to Memphis, Tennessee. At the very same time that my alarms are going off for this Houston shooting, my alarms are also going off because there's a manhunt going on in Memphis, Tennessee. Yesterday afternoon, the entire city of Memphis was shut down for like 2 hours while they chased some dude in a Dodge Charger murdering people. Just driving around shooting and killing people. Thankfully, they caught him. Here's the story. I mean, I didn't know what I'm like, I should go live with one of these stories. Both of these seem pretty. $1 billion bond has been recommended for suspect in Sunday's shooting spree. Dateline, Memphis, Tennessee, Memphis police. Oh, we can get rid of this one, right? We don't need this no more. Sorry, folks. I forgot. We stopped sharing that. Memphis police identified the man they say is responsible for Sunday's crime spree that left one teen dead and others injured. Corderon Kraft, 20, has been charged with the following: first-degree murder, aggravated robbery, carjacking, 2 counts of aggravated child abuse, and 2 counts of evading arrest. According to a bond recommendation, let's see, they did not know the victims. He did not know them victims. They've recommended a bond of $1 billion. I don't think I've ever heard of a $1 billion bond. But they don't want this guy getting back out on the street. I understand why this would be the kind of guy that you could justify a $1 billion bond, because if he gets out on the street, he's just going to get in a car and start shooting people again. And we can't have that. He's obviously off his rocker. Sunday, officers responded to the 3700 block of East Shelby Drive regarding a carjacking just after 10 a.m. A woman was in a car with her kids when Kraft reportedly used a gun to break her window, threatened to kill the victim, and stole her car. Police say Kraft also is connected to a shooting at Zaza's smoke and vape shop on East Shelby Drive, killing an employee there and taking an AK-style firearm from behind the counter. So he killed a woman, took her car, drove to a smoke shop, killed people at the smoke shop, took the gun, got in the car, then started driving, shooting at people in a stolen Dodge Charger. Anyway, $1 billion bond. They finally caught him. Good job, police in Memphis. Memphis is crazy, man. Memphis is a crazy city. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is back in the hospital. A couple of weeks ago, remember, he was in the hospital. I think he had like cancer treatment or something. He didn't tell anybody. And people are like, hey, where's the defense secretary? Anyway, he got in trouble for that. Not in trouble, but it's like, it really would have been proper for him to let people know. And he didn't. So now he's back in the hospital. He's let everybody know the deputy defense secretary is in total control and we can all move on. He's got bladder infection. That's what's going on. There was a plane crash over the weekend. It was on a Friday afternoon. I want to play this for you. This is crazy. I was following this. Whoops, sorry. Let me show you. Just listen to this. I mean, this is going to be kind of dark. If you don't like things that are dark, it was a plane crash, and I'm going to play you the pilot of the plane talking to the tower before the plane crashed, and I'm playing it to you. I don't know the fate of the pilot. All I know is that 2 people are dead. There were 5 people on the plane. Plane was flying from Ohio to Naples, Florida, and it lost an engine just as it was getting ready to land, and it wasn't going to make the airport. So the plane, so the plane had to land on a highway, like a freeway. Here, I'll show you these pictures. Unbelievable. We don't know who the dead are. We don't know if the dead are the people on the ground in cars, because the plane just landed on a freeway. A crowded freeway. Look at that. But here, I want to play something for you. Is this the audio? Let me see. So before the plane crashed, the pilot was letting the air traffic know that, hey, we ain't going to make the airport. And listen to this pilot. Let's see if we can get to it. They're going to make us play a commercial.
Hey guys, we are giving out a ton of these DeWalt samples today. Just fill out our quick 2-minute.
Shut up. Right here.
Okay, Challenger, Hopperjet 823, lost both engines, emergency. I'm making an emergency landing.
Emergency, clear to land, runway 23. Is that Hopperjet 823?
We're clear to land, but we're not going to make the runway. We've lost both engines.
All right, one more time.
Okay, Challenger, Hopperjet 823, lost both engines, emergency. I'm making an emergency landing.
Emergency, clear to land, runway 23. Is that Hopperjet 823?
We're clear to land, but we're not going to make the runway. We've lost both engines.
All right, the reason I wanted to play that was because it's haunting. I don't know if that man is alive or dead. I should probably look into that, but just not knowing whether that man is alive or dead, the calm. This dude knows that he might be dead in a couple of seconds. The calm, the professionalism. Wow, that is a thing. I hate flying. I absolutely hate flying. Anyway, 2 people died, but they're not saying whether it was 2. There were 5 people on the plane. 2 people died. The plane crashed into 2 cars on the ground. I have not read any description or have any more information about the people. Are they dead? Were they on the ground? Were they in the plane? What happened? Anyway, unbelievable. Let's see, what else do we have here? President of the largest bank in Nigeria died in a helicopter crash going to the Super Bowl. So I don't know. Tell your crazy aunt is about to receive a whole bunch of emails from strange Nigerian people talking about the death of this guy and probably linking to this news story, so she believes it's true. Kanye West. Okay, all right. So let's do the Kanye West thing. Okay, we'll get into the Kanye West thing. Kanye West he's making music again. It's probably going to be awesome. It's probably just going to be crazy, spinning off this planet. Awesome. But he's got a new song. He's got a song called Vultures. And he did a listening party for Vultures. And he's a well-established anti-Semite from way back from, his many anti-Semite hits. Most notably the one that got him in a lot of trouble, which was I'm tired, but I'm going to bed, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on DEFCON 4 or whatever on Jews or whatever it was. That was pretty bad. Pretty bad for a guy in the entertainment business. Just come on, know the room. So he went away for a while. I don't know, started showing us some new weird chick that he's married to now or something. I don't know who can keep his life straight. I don't know. Rebecca Sensore or something like that is the woman. She's like really, she's gross. I'm sorry, she's gross. I hate to say that I feel comfortable calling her gross because I think she spends the bulk of her life having people go, she's the sexiest thing ever. So I'm just going to, be the other end of the pendulum. I'm going to tell you, she's gross. She's trashy. She dresses like really bad, but I'm guessing that Kanye dresses her. So whatever, she's a hostage. Kanye's telling the world that she's a brain surgeon and an architect. Yeah. So, he's nuts. But he's got a new song called Vultures, and it's probably awesome. I haven't heard it. I could probably hear it. It's probably not that hard. I bet my son's heard it. Let's get my son to give me a review of it. Kanye West, so here's the headline. Kanye West drops anti-Semitic single on iTunes. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Will they be brave enough to ban it? Will they be brave enough to ban this anti-Semitic song that he put up? That's the headline. Now, why is that headline? Why does that headline work? Because you don't have to know anything else. All you know is that, Kanye West hates Jews. I heard about that from like months ago. So all you need is a headline that just says he wrote an anti-Semitic song. And now without hearing that, people are going, yeah, and he wrote an anti-Semitic song too. He ain't learned his lesson. He didn't write an anti-Semitic song. The song Vultures is not an anti-Semitic song. Let's talk about, first of all, the song isn't really a problem. It's one line in the song that has got these people outraged. See, he's anti-Semitic. It's one line in a song, and the line isn't even anti-Semitic or I'll open my mind. If you can explain to me how what he's saying is akin to Jews need to be stopped. They're evil. They're bad. They're everything that's awful with the world. That's what anti-Semitism is. Okay. So if you can explain to me from the line, and I'm going to give you the line from the Kanye West song that's being called an anti-Semitic song. I'm going to give you the line. You tell me if this is anti-Semitic, because I'm open. I'm open. Look, if people are offended by this line and they think it's, just another example of how he despises Jews, I'm willing to listen to that. Now, also, I think he does despise Jews. I think both things can be true. He can be an anti-Semite, and this is not an anti-Semitic song, even though, and we'll get to it. Okay, so here we go. Kanye West has placed his single Vultures on all the streaming channels, and they approve of it. They approve of it. Yeah, of course they do. They approve of it because it's not an anti-Semitic song, even though you're trying to get people to click on your story by saying it is. The main offending couplet. You mean the only offending couplet? Because I promise you, if there was another one, you'd have mentioned it here. But you don't. You just call the one single instance in this other 5-minute song, though you cherry pick one instance and you call it the main offending couplet. Give me another one. All right, that's the main one. Give me another one. Oh, there's not? Oh, I think you're a bit hyperbolic, aren't you? For your clicks. You gross. Look, Kanye deserves to get dragged. Don't get me wrong. But he's going to do something legitimate that is drag worthy. We don't need to go farming for things to drag Kanye over. So here's what he says. Kanye West has placed his single Vultures on all the streaming channels, and they've apparently approved it. The main offending couplet in Vultures reads, all right, so this is why this song is being called an anti-Semitic song. Remember, we covered what anti-Semitism is. It's the belief that Jews are responsible for all the evils in the world, and that this isn't really anything to do with the individual, but to do with the entirety of the culture. The Jewish culture, since the dawn of time, has been an evil anti-Christian force on this. That's what anti-Semitism is, okay? So we've established that. So now tell me how this is anti-Semitic. And by the way, I know there are anti-Semites out there. I've seen them. This doesn't rise to that. The main offending couplet in Vultures reads, how am I anti-Semitic? I just effed a Jewish bitch. I just effed Scooter's bitch, and we ran her like the Olympics. That's it. That's what he said. How am I anti-Semitic? I just had sex with a Jewish woman. Now, he's being comical there. He's being funny. Kanye West is funny in the way that he chooses his words and his phrase. He's being tongue-in-cheek there, okay? He's not saying, and by the way, he's saying he had sex with a woman who happened to be Jewish. He's not anti-Semitic. Ha, get it? Wink, wink. It's crude? Yes, of course it's crude. He's Kanye. He is crude. But is it anti-Semitic? No. He's not saying that there is anything wrong with being Jewish. He's saying, you people call me anti-Semitic. Well, I have sex with Jewish women. That's a joke. You should just move on from that. And then it turns into just an attack on Scooter Braun, who is an industry guy who he's at odds with. I effed Scooter's bitch, and we ran her like the Olympics. How am I anti-Semitic? I just effed a Jewish bitch. What are you upset about here? Are you upset about him using the word bitch? Because that's pretty much everywhere in hip hop. You're upset because he's actually acknowledging the absurdity of the witch hunt against him. Now, a witch hunt is typically the desire to persecute someone for things that they haven't actually done. Okay. Kanye's done stuff. So Kanye's done stuff. But this is what I say about Kanye. We can get him on the stuff that he's actually done. He's a lunatic. He's a crazy person. Okay. Is he an anti-Semite? Yeah, I absolutely believe he's an anti-Semite. Is the song Vultures an anti-Semitic song that needs to be banned by Apple? And all? No, of course it's not. These are just people looking for clicks. Nothing he said. Simply acknowledging that someone is Jewish is now anti-Semitic? Really? Well, I don't think that's good, because now we are erasing the entirety of the Jewish culture, which I don't think is something people are advocating for, other than actual anti-Semites. Those are the ones who want us to not even acknowledge the Jew. You can talk about people's cultures. You can be curious. You can be inquisitive. You can want to experiencing. We're not the same. We're not the same. This world, we all come from different places, different areas, different proximities to the sun create different melanin compositions in skin, different hair colors, different attitudes. If your default setting is that different is evil and bad, then you're garbage. But if your default setting is, oh, that's different, what's that about? Then come on over to my side. Simply addressing, Kanye simply talking about Judaism, okay, does not mean he's anti-Semitic. Now, what is he going to say? If he says, like, Judaism, you know what, Hitler had something horrible like that, yes. But this is give him enough rope. He's going to hang himself. O.J. Simpson, speaking of someone who we wish would hang himself, O.J. Simpson is also in the news. Why? Well, he made his yearly YouTube, Twitter, Super Bowl pick, but that's not why he's in the news. O.J. has cancer. I got a pretty good feeling he's going to beat it. Yeah, OJ's got cancer. OJ's announced that he's got cancer. Some people are saying it's very serious and that he's been moved into hospice care, which was kind of the point of one of the videos he made yesterday where he's like, I'm sitting by a pool. And I'm watching it going, get up, move. Why are you sitting by a pool? Someone was in hospice care and they wanted to make it look like they weren't in hospice care. They might be sitting by a pool like you. Why aren't you standing, Juice? Why aren't you shooting hoops in the driveway? That would dispel them rumors. No, I wasn't doing that. But anyway, yeah, he's apparently got cancer. He says it's not as bad as some people are saying, but what do I say for OJ? Because typically what I would say here to move on to the next subject is keep a good thought for OJ. I don't feel right doing that. I don't want to do that. All right. The RFK Jr. thing, we were going to talk about that as well. That's a big story, but we kind of covered that when we were talking about the Super Bowl stuff. So RFK Jr., they did an ad. He said I had nothing to do with the ad. That's a PAC. The Kennedy family went nuts. They're like, you can't do that. That's not what you're about. RFK Jr. apologized today. He said, I'm sorry to my family that I had nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. That's where we are. The Dutch PM, the former PM, I'm sorry. And we're going back a bunch of years. Like he was prime minister of Dutchterland. What is Dutch? What is that? Holland? Netherlands? What is that? Jesus, man. I have no idea what that part of the world is. What's the name of the country? What is Holland? Is Holland a country? What? No, the Netherlands are the country, right? And Netherlands, like, are they multiples? I don't. What is Dutch? Is Dutch, Holland. Too many names over there. I don't know what's going on. Just be German. You people just be German. Just be German. It'll be so much easier if you people would just be German. Half of you, if you'd like, you can be French. But some of you need to be German because there's just we don't need Holland, Dutch, and the Netherlands. I'm confused. Former prime minister of, it says former Dutch prime minister. And then it says he's prime minister of the Netherlands. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. He died. He died with his wife, 92 years old. He died with his wife on Sunday afternoons, holding hands together in a dual euthanasia thing. They're both 92, 93 years old. One was sick. The other one was 93 years old. Didn't want to live at 94, 95, 96, however long they got left without the other one. So in that country, they have legalized euthanasia. If you're dying, if you sit across from a doctor and a doctor says you've got 6 months to live, and are they going to be painful? In that country, in certain civilized countries, you have the right to decide legally how to go out, legally and humanely. There are ways to do it. Of course, we all know there are ways to do it here. Not legal and probably not as humane as it should be. Probably not as dignified as it should be. A lot of people get bad diagnoses health-wise and they end up, going to sleep in the back seat of their car in the garage with the engine running. Taking too many pills and not waking up. It's a choice. It's a very big individual choice that I think you need to shut the fuck up about if you don't have to make that choice. How about that? How about you shut the fuck up until you're facing it, until you're facing whatever this is. So the Dutch prime minister and his wife, 92, 93 years old, they decided to make the choice. They laid down. They had professionals come in. They held hands. And they went out together. Death with dignity, as opposed to, you know, dying in hospice care, dying in some, you know, dying in a place where your family members who love you with every ounce of their fiber don't want to come and see you because it's too hard on them. Is that what you want? You want to put people through that? You don't want to put people through that. We have such a weird attitude towards this in this country. It's such a possessive attitude. No, you can't kill yourself. Why, then everyone would just kill themselves. Really? That's your argument? That's a fucking stupid argument. You're an idiot. How about show a little bit of compassion for people with no hope, who maybe they have no hope, but they do have faith and they want whatever comes next. Who knows? Well, if they do that, then they won't be able to go to what comes next. Yeah, says who? Says you. Says your interpretation of whatever comes next. But I like to think that all bets are off once the lights go out. You know what I mean? That's when we really find out what's what. And it's probably nothing that any idiot down here has come up with. I think that's a nice story. The Dutch prime minister. I'll give you the way it's actually written, because it's kind of a nice story. We see this picture of these two nice old people. Here, I'll show you. You know what? Why not? I'll show you these two nice old people. All right? Let's. I don't know if how am I going to be at 93? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want to be 93. Pretty sure I'm going to be a junkie at 93. I used to say I'm going to start doing junk at 70, but I'm getting too close to 70. I can't see myself becoming a junkie now at 70, but certainly 80. All right, look at these two folks. Look at these two nice old people. They went out, they were married 65 years. These people were married 65 years. They raised a family. They ruled a nation together. One of them got sick. The details haven't been revealed as to which one was sick, but they both decided, one gets sick, we both get sick. We live in a country where we're allowed to do this. Look at these two nice old people. They went out with dignity. There you go. It's a shame what we force people. Jesus Christ. Freedom! I'm all about freedom! Until you're like terminal and in pain, and, you know, then you don't have the freedom to decide what to do. No, then freedom is not then it's about Jesus! Jesus, freedom, Jesus! Let's see. What else do we have? It's a story on the Chiefs. No, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to. There's a story going around about the Chiefs. I don't want to get into it. Has to do with, why don't the Chiefs have to change their name? Because chief is a position of importance. It's not a pejorative. I can't do this. I can't. The Chiefs! We need to force the Chiefs to change their name. Oh, Jesus. You don't want to change their name? Fine. You want to talk about let's force people to change names because they've got pejoratives as their nickname? I want the New York Yankees to change their name because I'm tired of having to look at the sports page every day and see a negative name for my breed of individual. Why do I have to sit there and laugh off that they're mocking me by calling me the New York Yankees? Make the Yankees change their name. Let's do that. That's a viral thing we can get into because I'm all butthurt. I'm butthurt that they're calling me a Yankee. All right, that one might not have legs. But still, this is a stream of consciousness going on 2 hours now. I haven't stopped talking, so you know there's going to be some things. All right, let's end this show here. A couple other things I can get into, but I wanted to talk about this I just saw the headline. I saw the headline and I went, "Oh, that'll be fun. I should do that to end the show." I am amazed by people. You know who I'm talking about. None of you guys. None of you guys. I'm amazed at how oblivious some people are in casual conversation with how rude they can be. And they don't even they're oblivious. They don't even know they're being rude. They just say things and it's so rude and you're like, the fuck kind of household were you raised in where you say something like that? You know? Anyway, here's the headline. I thought maybe we could jump into this. The 11 rudest things you can do in someone else's house. This is according to top etiquette experts. 11 rudest things you can do in someone else's house. Pee on the seat. I'm going with that. That's the first. You don't want to pee on the seat. And if you do pee on the seat, then you got to clean it up. Hopefully you're aware. The number one thing, or this is not in any particular order as far as, great crime, but number one on the list of the 11 things you shouldn't do in other people's houses, rude things, touch or move things. Don't touch or move things. What does that mean, move things? You show up at your friend's house and you rearrange their furniture? What do you mean move things? Touch or move things? All right. 2, expecting a tour. Well, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. He showed us how to handle this. When somebody says you want a tour, just politely say, I don't need to go upstairs. I don't need to see it. Your living room is fine. Nice house. Looks good from the outside. I don't need a tour. Don't demand a tour of someone's home. Wait to be invited by your host. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So like when you walk in, you go to someone's house and they got a new house, right? You expect that you're probably going to get a tour. It's a new house. They're going to be like, come here, let me give you the tour, right? So if they do that, that's when I go into the Larry David thing where if they say, come on, let me give you a tour. I go, nah, I'm good. I don't want a tour. I don't want a tour. I don't want to give you the next 3.5, 4 minutes to show off about how you've got something really great, especially when I'm living in a guest house here in the basement or the backyard of a billionaire's mansion. It's a joke. It's a joke. But don't take the tour. Don't expect a tour. So what they're saying is don't walk in and go, give me a tour, because they may not want to. You got to wait for them to go, come on, I'll give you a tour. That makes sense. Overstaying your welcome is another big rude thing. It's never a problem for me. That is never a problem for me. I never overstay my welcome. Because from the minute I show up somewhere, I am on an egg timer before I can get the hell out of there. I'm like, I'm getting out. So-and-so here. I got to say, I used to do this thing. I used to go to work functions. I used to go to all the work functions. Oh, I'd go to all of them. Hey, we're having drinks with the people from AT&T today down in Uptown at 6:30 if you want to swing by. I swing by to all of those things. But here's what I do. You figure out who needs to see you there. You go in, you shake their hand, you shake a couple other people's hands, and then you leave. Then you just leave, because then no matter what happens, it'll be like you were there. I don't want to hang out. So I don't overstay my welcome, really, ever. Although E might tell you different. He's like, you've been living in my guest house for 3 years. He might argue that, and he'd be right. Number 4, hiding a mess. It says, unfortunately, things happen when you're in another person's home. You might accidentally spill red wine on the carpet or knock over a lamp. Don't ignore or try to hide it. If you break something or even just finish the roll of toilet paper, it's best to let your host know as quickly and quietly as possible. Finish the roll of toilet paper? What kind of a host? What kind of a host creates a situation where a guest might find themselves in a toilet with insufficient toilet paper? That is a failure of the host. That's a failure of the host. But yeah, you make a mess. Don't be like, oh, shit. No, you got to be like, okay, you got to do your best. And by the way, if you make a mess and the woman of the house begins freaking out and she's like, I'll get it. Either stay out of her way or do all the hard stuff. That's it. Stay out of the way. Let her do her thing. Apologize profusely. Or if like a coffee table needs to be moved or something you got to do all the heavy lifting. But don't just like walk away from a mess that you've made in somebody's house. What is wrong with you? Snooping. All right. Snooping. Refrain from peeking in cabinets and cupboards. All right, let me tell you this. You shouldn't snoop. Like snooping, like you don't go up to the upstairs bathroom and then find yourself in the master bedroom rifling through somebody's desk drawers. You don't do that. Unless, of course, you're a spy. But I disagree with the snooping thing. I think that if they are going to have a cabinet in their bathroom that is going to be available to guests to use, yeah, I think they need to expect. I think as the host, you need to expect that they're going to open up that cabinet and they're just going to take a look. They're going to take a look. They're going to see what's in there. Depending on the class of individual that you frequent or hangs out at your house, you might want to remove any of your pharmaceuticals because, that's something that was always, when I was a kid in high school, people would often have parties at their grandparents' house, or like something to do with their grandparent or some old person who was traveling. My aunt's out of town. Let's have a party at her house, something like that. So you'd go over there. And then like the next week at school, the kid who had the party was like, do you know anybody who took my aunt's heart medication? Yes, the heart, they took her cancer meds. The cancer meds are missing. Because that's what you'd do. You'd go to one of these things, you'd open up the medicine cabinet and you just look and see what kind of drugs they have. I mean, not me, because I didn't do drugs like that, but other people did. I never liked pills. Was never a pill guy. If I didn't know what it was going to do, if I didn't have a fairly reasonable expectation of what the high was going to be, I wasn't interested. I was like, I don't need to be experiencing anything new. I'm already half drunk. Number 6, rude things you do when you're in other people's houses. Bringing an uninvited +1. Yeah. If it's a dinner party, you don't bring an uninvited +1 to a sit-down dinner party. See, again, you've got to be thoughtful. You've got to think about the person preparing the dinner. How many pieces of steak do they have? And now you're showing up with somebody else? There was a great scene in Mad Men. I told you I'm binge watching Mad Men. And Don Draper, John Hamm, calls Betty Draper, January Jones, his wife, calls her and says, hey, I'm coming home for dinner, but I'm bringing Roger Sterling, the boss. So I'm bringing Roger. And Betty, the wife, is like, I don't have enough food. That whole thing. And then they cut to the dinner scene and Roger's eating a steak and John Hamm's eating a steak and Betty Draper's eating a salad. She didn't get the steak. You can't do that. That's not you can't just like show up to a dinner. But if it's just a party and you weren't, you bring a girlfriend or you bring, that's not rude. That's not, if it's a party, it's fine. Dinner party, totally different. Let's see. What else do we have here? Rude things we do in other people's homes. Waiting to share dietary restrictions. If you have been invited for a meal, any dietary restrictions should be shared well in advance, not when you sit down at the table. Okay. Dietary restrictions. That's another Mad Men thing. They were making sandwiches for the kids, and one of the women said, I just made 10 peanut butter sandwiches because everybody's okay with peanut butter. And I'm like, it's 1963. And I'm like, yeah, everybody, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. Everybody was always okay with peanut butter. What did we lose? Like 5 kids a year? And, never in my school. So it wasn't like there was a big peanut fear in my school. Now, all of a sudden, nobody can have peanuts. Nobody can have peanuts. Peanuts are killing everybody left and right. Peanuts never killed anybody. There's like one kid out there who had a peanut allergy. Seriously. I'm not kidding. We ate peanut butter sandwich. Everybody ate peanut butter. It used to be. That's how you found out what you were allergic to, right? Actually, I'm saying this now. I'm saying this. You know what's funny about the 1970s when I went to school in the 1970s? In the 1980s mostly, but like when I was a little kid in school in the 1970s. It was pretty common for kids to die. I don't know how common it is for kids to die these days. Like I don't know how many, like my son's 14. I don't know how many of his friends, his contemporaries have died. But I had a bunch of kids die on me. I had a bunch, maybe peanuts. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they did. Maybe I just never got the full debriefing on what killed them. I had one friend. I had my friend Janet, 13 years old. She died of crib death at 13. Yeah, SUDS, sudden infant death syndrome. 13 years old. She died of it. I know what you're saying. Look it up. It's very rare that it occurs in people that old because, it's called crib death for a reason. But yeah, that's what killed. How weird is that? Jesus, that was horrible. She was awesome. I had a friend, Mike, die. He died in a car wreck or a motorcycle accident. He was riding like a motorcycle. I don't know. There was another kid who He didn't come back after summer, and it turned out he died. I didn't know how, but there were a lot of like stories. Oh, he died, he this and that. I had another kid in high school who died of cancer. Now, why am I so bummed out now? Well, because you're talking about people who died young. That's why. Kids died all the time when I was little. Maybe this idea that I have that, peanuts never hurt anybody. Maybe they hurt a lot of people. We just didn't notice. We just didn't put it together. It's probably good if kids aren't die. Kids now die when they go to Target. Kids now die, because they've been stressed. Different things are killing kids these days. If these are our choices, I'd like to go back to peanuts if we could. Disrespecting shoe rules. It says here, these are rude things that we do in other people's houses. Shoe rules. Shoes on or off tends to be very individually specific. Listen to what your host prefers. Taking my shoes off. I ain't taking my shoes off. What do you think? What am I, a chimney sweep? I ain't taking my shoes off. My shoes are fine. What's so special about your dumb carpeting? I am not taking my shoes off. I hate that. I mean, unless I dated a girl, she was Japanese, and her mom was from Japanese. I think it's Japan. And like they had a rule, like when we went over to her apartment, you had to like take your shoes off and all that because it was just more cultural. But it wasn't like, you're a slob and I don't need you tracking your sorry, sad life through my new carpeting. It wasn't like that. It was just it's a cultural thing. You have to take your shoes off. Like, okay. I also don't like taking my shoes off places because it's a crapshoot on my sock integrity. I don't know, like, is there a hole in my sock? How bad are the socks I'm wearing? I never expect anyone in the outside world to know what's going on with my socks. So, I have a number of socks with holes in them. And am I going to find myself in a situation where I got to take my shoes off and now you're going to see my funky toenails because I got a hole in the sock? I don't want to do that. All right, number 10. Interfering with the setup. These are things that we do and are rude in other people's houses. Interfering with the setup. Don't switch place cards at the dinner table. Gottsman advised. People put time and effort into hosting events like dinner parties, so respect what they put together. Okay, that's fine. Of course. You're a psycho. You're a horrible person if you go in and you start calling shots. You're a guest. Shut up. All right, what's the last one? This is going to be the 11th one. Showing up empty-handed. Oh my God. That is such a big one. That is so important. Showing up. Couple of rules here. Guys, I can't tell you how many dinner engagements, dinner parties, come on by for a drink. We're having some people over. Come on by. I can't tell. We're just going to be playing poker. I can't tell you how many of these invites I have had to turn down over the years, not because I didn't want to go. I very much wanted to go. I can't tell you how many of these invites I've had to turn down over the years because I couldn't afford to bring a gift. And you got to bring a gift. You got to bring a gift. That is a fucking rule. You are a terrible human being if you go to another person's home and you don't at least bring them a $6 bottle of wine, a box of candies, some flowers, whatever. You bring a gift. Thank you for opening your home to me and providing me this sustenance. Here, I would like to show my appreciation. That's just the rules of civilized society. Now, I'll tell you something else, okay? This is something that really bothers me, and I've had to experience this before. If you go to a party and you bring a bottle because it's like a BYOB party or whatever, you go to a party and you bring a bottle. You don't leave with the bottle, okay? You understand this, right? You don't get you go to the party, here, I bought this, here's oh, really, Tanqueray? Well, I don't drink Tanqueray, but okay. You don't get to leave with that bottle just because it hasn't been drunk, just because it's not been opened. You don't leave with the bottle. You did bring, the bottle is a gift in appreciation for these people. Oh God, I can't tell you how many people, I would never say anything. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You see them and they're holding the bottle of wine that they walked in with. All right, I'm going to get out of here. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you go do that. I still like you. but I know how you were raised. Just saying. That's it. It'll go unspoken. This tacit acknowledgement of your parental unit's failings. That's what that is. You leaving the house with a bottle that you brought. The hell kind of shanty, low rent behavior is that? I've seen it. People do it. All right, that's it. Those are the 11 things that a whole bunch of etiquette experts, and I don't know what an etiquette expert is, but a whole bunch of etiquette experts said that these are the 11 things that you shouldn't do. All right, 2:13. I got to go do James's show at 3:05. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what he wants me for. He just gave me I don't know. So if you want to check that out, 93.3 FM WBAP here in Dallas, James Parker show. I think it just started, so excuse me. What does that mean? Jeff Ballard says, sounded like a true city slicker. I am a city slicker. I make no doubts about it. I live in, and by the way, anybody who grew up in Dallas, you're also a city slicker. Now, I know that doesn't appeal to Jeff. Jeff is a country mouse. Jeff is without a doubt a country mouse. Jeff is in Iowa. He's a Midwestern, salt of the earth type. But yeah, we hear anybody who lives in Dallas, we're city slickers. I know a lot of people who live in Dallas like to cosplay as rural Americans. You're not. You live in Dallas, Fort Worth. You have a football team, a baseball team, a basketball team, and a hockey team. You are not rural. You are city slickers. Remember my partner, well, some of you, my partner Kelly, my partner Kelly had two great fears in the world. Two great fears, two things that kept her awake at night. One, driving over bridges, right? Wasn't that one where she couldn't drive? And now she lives on an island where she has to drive across a 3-mile bridge every single day. But bridges were a big one. But the big thing that my former partner Kelly could not fathom, just horrified her. Living on a farm. Remember that? She was always like, I always thought that was interesting. Like, why are you so anti-farm? She's like, I couldn't do it. There's just no way. The smells, there's nothing to do. There's no people. So yeah, I'm definitely a city person too. Although I could vacation on a farm. Like I could go to a dude ranch. I could go hang out with Jeff. Like I could go live in his barn for like a weekend and, get that whole experience, and I'd enjoy it and have great memories. I want to live with, first of all, suburbs are too rural for me. I don't even like suburbs anymore. I just want to live in a city. I'd like there to be a Starbucks in my lobby. How's that? If that doesn't say city slicker, anyway, that's who I am. I am many things. What were we talking about? We were talking about something. I think we did some good stuff today. I think we had some nice talks today. I really did appreciate this day. All right, I'm done. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. Support the High Noon Rant if you can. That'd be great. Drop a little something if you like this non-divisive, hot talk, current events driven. What do we got to do? We got to do a bunch of follow-ups today. We got to do more follow-ups on the Lakewood church shooting. We got to find out way more about that woman. I don't know nearly enough. I'm not comfortable. What else? We're probably gonna maybe some Taylor Swift news. Gonna have to learn about that. Taylor Swift. They get engaged. Did she do the thing? Wasn't she supposed to do the thing? Wasn't that like what some of you idiots were afraid of? And I call you idiots. You're charming idiots, but you're idiots. Wasn't the fear like and then they're gonna win, and then she's gonna hoist the trophy, and then she's gonna say, I'm endorse Joe Biden, right? Something like that. Like she was gonna endorse Joe Biden. Like that's something that would ever be allowed on CBS during this Super Bowl. You people are so silly. None of you, because you guys aren't idiots. But you saw the idiots. And again, we're not even sure that the people who posted those things are idiots. People who posted those things might be brilliant, who understand the psychology of actual idiots. Because it's not about the person who posted it. It's about the idiots who see it and go, yep, that's going to happen. That didn't happen. Who was do we know who the girl was? Do we know who the Selena Gomez looking girl was that was in the box? Because here's who was in the box. There were 4 chicks. It was Blake Lively. It was Taylor Swift. 2 6'11", right? You know, the hot scale goes to 10. These are 2 11s. Taylor Swift at 6 foot blonde runway caliber, gorgeous Ferrari women. Taylor Swift. Then you had Ice Spice, who's hot, but a different kind of hot, and shouldn't be standing next to them too with her Ronald McDonald hair. And then there was a 4th girl who was wearing a white tank top. She had dark hair. She kind of looked like Selena Gomez. She was the one that I thought was really interesting. I thought that would be the one if you somehow found yourself in this, you'd have to talk to that one. Ice Spice ain't talking to you. Blake Lively and Taylor Swift ain't talking to you, but maybe that one does. Unless that one turns out to be Selena Gomez. Then she ain't talking to me either. First of all, even if she's their hairdresser, she probably ain't talking to me. But my point is, was she a civilian? Was she a civilian among all of those celebritas? I don't know. If you can't tell by now, I'm out of things to say.